Good morning. Welcome to Redwood Church. We are so glad that you've joined us on this Mother's Day Sunday. I'm laughing because Zach's mom is sitting behind the camera as she does every week since Zach has been in college, and she tells me the same thing every week, and it made me chuckle this morning. And then she gives me a signal. This morning she may have given me an alternate signal. I don't know what that was all about, but anyway. It is Mother's Day. To all the moms out there, we wish you a very happy Mother's Day. For those of you who have moms who are still living, make sure you give them a call today, give them a hug, tell them you love them. And I'll tell that in a minute. We got a special Mother's Day plan. But if you have not been on Facebook yet this morning, or you were not on Facebook late last evening, I posted that I arrived home late last night with Shannon's Mother's Day present. I drove 14 hours on Thursday through 8 states and the District of Columbia, and arrived in Princeton, New Jersey almost, I guess, 9 o'clock on Thursday night. And Zach and I got up Friday morning and we had coffee, and then we packed up his dorm room and got everything ready. And then we got up early yesterday morning quietly because his roommates were all still asleep, and packed up the car, loaded up the car. And so, as I said on Facebook last night, Shannon's Mother's Day gift was 10 loads of dirty laundry and the college student who created it. And that's a whole nother discussion, have other summer. And I think some people are laughing at it because they think I was exaggerating. I'm going to count, because I think when we get done, it'll be pretty close. When you do linens and towels and all of that stuff, I think we'll be pretty close to 10 loads of dirty laundry. But for those of you who are moms, you know there would be no greater gift on Mother's Day than having the one who made you a mother. And with us having an only child, that's him. So we got home last night at 10:30 or so, and it was a wonderful trip. You know, Zach and I talked about the journey, and on the way back we were paying attention to all that we got to see. We actually drove through the center of DC on the way back, and I'd never paid attention. For those of you familiar with DC, I was looking at the map and it was routing us. I'm like, oh cool, we're going to get to see the Capitol of Washington. We had seen the Capitol from a distance, but 395 actually goes underneath the mall between the Capitol and the Washington Memorial and Lincoln Memorial. So it's crazy. I didn't know. So we went underneath, and we came out on the backside. We could look behind us. We drove past the Pentagon, but we drove past. We went through Baltimore, so we saw we went through Philadelphia, so we saw football stadium, baseball stadium, hockey arena in Philadelphia. We saw the football stadium, and Zach saw Camden Yards off in the distance. On the way back, we saw all the monuments, or a lot of the monuments in DC, including the Jefferson Memorial. So what an incredible journey up and back. It was beautiful weather. I was very lucky. But we are certainly glad to have Zach home for the summer. He will be home for the summer, and we're super proud. For those who don't know, he has earned an internship in Governor Kemp's office this summer. So he'll be working downtown at our state's capital, and he's really excited about that. He still has one paper and one exam that he's got to finish up at home, but we thought it'd be really awesome for him to be home. And so the present wasn't just for Shannon, but also for my mom. So happy Mother's Day, Mom. Mom's always on, y'all, and Shannon's mom is almost always on too. So I'm so grateful that both my mom and my mother-in-law are so supportive and so encouraging, and so they are generally both on Sunday morning. So for the rest of you, I'd love for you to wish them a happy Mother's Day. And I know we have a number of moms who regularly worship with us online and on Sunday mornings. So again, happy Mother's Day to all of you. There was a video floating around this week that was hilarious, and it was the promo video for Mother's Day in different denominations. Okay, so it had generic Baptist church, and Zach, if he's still upstairs, I woke him up because I had to go through his room to get to his closet. We're in the middle of a renovation, and our entire master bedroom and bathroom and closets. So all of my clothes are in his closet, and I forgot to grab them. So he kind of woke up, but I think he went back to sleep. But we were laughing because Generic Baptist Church, the promo video for Mother's Day, He said, and our preacher will be preaching his 9th consecutive sermon on Proverbs 31, which is what I'm going to read from this morning, selected verses. The reason is that it's just such a beautiful, piece of scripture that speaks about moms and women and the strength of moms and women and what they mean to their families. And many of these words will resonate with us. If they don't all resonate with us, they will resonate, some parts of it will resonate with us. And so we're going to talk about that. Now, I always say on Mother's Day, I always feel like I need to do this, is that I know Mother's Day can be a challenge for many. And so, we're lucky in our family that we all love each other. We're not perfect. We get in our fusses and our fights and we have our disagreements, but at the end of the day, we just have incredible women. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. And so we're really lucky. But I know people who have difficult relationships, strained relationships with their mothers. They're estranged from their mothers or estranged from their children. Women who wanted to be biological mothers, who wanted to have their own children and who couldn't. And some who adopted, some who didn't but became moms to other people and were mothers and nurtured others in the way that a mother nurtures their children. And then, young moms who have tried to have children and can't, and the difficulty of infertility and all that happens with that. And then I also know some women, I've got some friends who I know are mourning the loss of children. And I think that is a pain and a grief that never goes away. It may lessen over time, but I don't think it ever goes away. I mean, there's a grief with losing our parents, and we certainly don't want to experience that grief either, but that's one that at some point, hopefully far, far in the future, you expect that will come at some point. None of us expect to lose our children. So I say all that to say, for everyone out there that for whom it may be a difficult day, know that we are praying for you and with you. And I hope that as I preach this morning from a perspective that is very much about a positive perspective and a grateful perspective about what mothers are, what mothers can be, and what mothers happen to be in our particular experience, then I hope that rather than bringing you additional challenges, that it will bring you some hope and comfort in that way. And so I'm going to read from Proverbs 31. I told Shannon I may not read all of this, but I think I am, because I think it's just the best way to do it. So I'm going to read from Proverbs 31, verses 10 through 31. A capable wife who can find? She is more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not harm. All the days of her life she seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. She is like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from far away. She rises while it is still night and provides food for her household and tasks for her servant girls. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. She puts her hands to the distaff, and her hands hold the spindle. She opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. She's not afraid for her household when it snows, for all of her household are clothed in crimson. She makes herself coverings. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the city gates, taking his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them. She supplies the merchant with sashes. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she laughs at the time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household, and she does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her happy, her husband also, and he praises her. Most women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her a share in the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the city gates. And so as I look at our family, obviously, I already said Happy Mother's Day to my mom and to Shannon's mom, and then Zach's mom is sitting here, and then Shannon's identical twin sister Susan, who is also a mom. And so if I look at those four women, The other thing that I think is interesting about this time of year is that graduation always generally now happens kind of late May, early June. And so graduation is almost always running at the same time as Mother's Day. And I think that's very appropriate because for the vast majority of us, our mothers are an integral part of our education and our growth and becoming who God created us to be. Moms and dads both, but moms, there's a certain bond of a mom with a child and a child with a mom and just what happens there. And so the one verse I was going to kind of pull out was verse 26. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. And I was thinking about the wisdom of mothers. And so graduation season yesterday, Zach's alma mater had their graduation. Earlier this week was the 1-year anniversary of Zach's graduation, and we are still just bursting with pride with all that he accomplished in high school. And he, as you might remember, delivered this senior speech, which was just unbelievable. And we could not be more proud of his first year at Princeton. He has done remarkably well. When you think about all of the transitions, particularly an only child from the South, suddenly with 3 roommates living 800 miles away. He had learned how to do his own laundry, but had us for backup. But when you're 800 miles away, it's all on you. And so I think in this last month and a half, when crunch time came, then he cleaned enough to get by, and that was what he did. And so he figured out how to make it work. It was that in many ways a perfect freshman year of college where you learn all of those things that you have to learn to live away from home and to care for yourself and to manage your time and to figure out who your friends are and what you enjoy doing. And he's done all those things. And Shannon has done such a great job throughout the year just helping him through those moments and encouraging him. You may or may not recall that last year when we were taking him up to school, that there was a lot of money being placed on who was going to get emotional. And there were a lot of people who lost a lot of money because the bet on who was going to cry first or longest was going to be me, and it was Shannon. And I think that in that moment you realize just how powerful a bond there is between mother and child. And that they carry this child for 9 months, that what their body goes through. And so as I think through all of that, as I was thinking about wisdom, I was thinking about what we learn from our moms, and in particularly in the case of my mom, Shannon's mom, Mama and Nana, and then Shannon and her sister Susan, is these are 4 women who have sacrificed tremendously for their children and their grandchildren. And so the wisdom that we pass along, the lesson that we learn from our moms is that often in life, the most incredible impact we have is when we put the needs of others before our own. And in my experience and in my life, women across the board, more often than not, are doing that. They often put the needs of others before their own. They make sacrifices. Some women sacrifice their careers for their family. Some women have sacrificed kind of their personal time for their family. So I know in my particular case, both with my mom, Shannon, I mean, really with all 4 of these women I've mentioned, all 4 of them have had impressive careers. And so what that meant was they gave their all in their work, and then they gave their all to their families, which meant there wasn't always a lot of time for themselves. And so if you can give your mother, your wife a gift today, it's that gift of just having some time to themselves, because often they've made those sacrifices. And so I think that's the word that just kept coming to me this week as I was thinking about this was that word of sacrifice. So we're fortunate that today Shannon and I are going to get to be together with our moms and see them, and they'll get to see Zach. And so we'll have some time to celebrate all of those relationships and what they mean. And so much like my grandmother spent a lot of time with me, my mom has spent a lot of time with Zach in his life. Shannon's mother has spent a lot of time with our kids and has helped, they've both helped, kick in and drive and pick up and be there for almost, none of them have hardly missed. I may be counting on one finger, if that, anything that's been missed in the lives of any of these grandchildren in our family. And so just a dedication again often sacrificing things that they may have been doing otherwise to be present and be supportive and be encouraging. And so as we read these words from Proverbs, and I think back to Mary, and I think about the words that she shared in the Magnificat and how it said she pondered all of these things in her heart. And moms do that. They are constantly thinking. And so sacrifice is the one thing, and being prepared. You know, I headed off to pick up Zach, and I didn't get 2 hours into the trip, and I was thinking about all the things that I'd forgotten to bring. It worked out. I bought, good news is they have the same stuff in New Jersey they do in Georgia for the most part. But I was kind of laughing to myself that, Shannon nags the daylights out of me on a trip when we're getting ready to go on a trip, but she's sitting there rolling her eyes. But without her, I generally forget something. And so, moms sacrifice. They're prepared. They look ahead. They think ahead. They're constantly thinking about all of those around them. And so, to my mom, to Shannon's mom, to Shannon, to Susan, I'm wishing them all a very happy Mother's Day. And for all the women throughout my life who have nurtured me, and for those who have nurtured our children, our son and the other children in the family, we are so incredibly grateful. So once again, to all the moms out there, very happy Mother's Day. So grateful for you, and we hope that you will have a very great day wherever you are. Will you all pray with me? Almighty God, we thank you for the gift of our moms. We thank you that they gave us life, and that for so many of us, not only did they give us life, but they have nurtured us throughout our lives. And so we thank you for them, and we ask your blessings upon them. Be with them this day and all days, that they may know your presence, and may we do a better job of making sure that we let them know how much we love them. So bless us this day and throughout the rest of this week, for we offer ourselves to you in the name of Christ our Lord. Amen. So so the rest of the, if you Google Mother's Day church videos, it pop it up. It's absolutely hilarious. Maybe give you a little laugh today about how different churches handle their Mother's Day. Most churches hand out a flower. It's kind of hard to hand out a flower online, but no, we're sending you love. Hope that you will stay connected with us throughout the week at Redwood ATL, on social media, Redwood Church ATL, redwoodchurchatl.org. And then if you would like to contribute to the mission and ministry of the church, you can do so at redwoodchurchatl.org/give, or text Redwood Church to the number on your screen. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Have a great week. God bless. Take care.